everybody, welcome back to From Fee to You. Today I'm going to be creating this pendant that you see here, and it's made with copper wire and green adventurine. So if you'd like to see how I make it, follow along. We're going to be using 18 gauge as well as 22 gauge wire. We're going to start by cutting 2 pieces of the 18 gauge wire, 16 inches each. Let's get started here. I'm going to be using this green adventurine cabochon today, oval shaped. And first thing I'm going to do is measure it. Instead of using tape measure, I'm just going to wrap a piece of tape all the way around it. That way I'll know how much or how big it is. Alright. And then I'll use that as a frame of reference. This is a fairly large stone in circumference, so we're going to be weaving around it. So we're going to need quite a bit of the 22 gauge weaving wire. For this size stone, I'm going to be using 48 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and cut off 48 inches of the weave wire. I'm going to be cutting 48 inches times 2. So cut 48 inches of the wire 2 times. All right. The easiest way for me, I mean, you might have found a different way, but the easiest way to cut 48 inches is to go ahead and measure 24 inches. And then instead of cutting, I'll just use that 24 mark and then take the wire down the rest of the way, because we're going to be bending it in half anyway. And just cut right there. You got your 24, your 48 inches. And this is how we want our weaving wire bent completely in half like this. So you want to make sure your base wires are straightened. Straighten them out the best way you straighten your wires. And just make sure that they are aligned side by side. And now we want to measure about 10 centimeters, a little over 10 centimeters, so 10.1 centimeters right there. And you take the weave wire, and that's where we're going to wrap it around there. Actually, I'm going to get a Sharpie and go ahead and mark this point where my finger is so I can let it go. Okay, now that I have the weave wire wrapped around the base wire, I'm going to hold it with one hand and then take the bottom wire and then fold it completely up like that. And the other one completely down. And I'm going to get my pliers to press that tightly. So this is what we should have. You have one wire over the top and one complete wrap around the base wires, and then one wire coming from the bottom. All right, so now what we want to do is put that down for a second. Grab your other weave wire that you bent completely in half. And do the same process. And go ahead and put the wire around, the base wire right next to this. So here you have it, and you place it right next to that. And then we're going to do the exact same pattern that we did over here. So you're going to take one wire, take it up, and one wire you're going to take it down. There's one up, and there's the one down. Straighten it out here. It's a bit crooked, but basically it's always tough to start it out. This is basically what we're looking for. You got one wire up, one wire down. All right. It was kind of awkward, especially first starting out, but once we get the rhythm going, it'll be just fine. So now you want to take the first two wires that we had and curve it, pull these second wires here, pull them to the front a little bit, like that. Since they're so long, it's kind of hard to work with, but anyway, make a little curve with these first two wires, and you're going to curve them over like that, over these wires. Okay, try to make it a little tight. Okay, now those two wires that you just curved over, you want to bring them up, under, and down the front, like that. All right, so I don't know if you can really see it, but this is what it should look like. Okay. Now you want to take these wires and curve them around these, like you did the first wire. So small curve. There we go. Now you have got wires sticking up there, and then the wires sticking down here, and then you're just going to go under there like that. You get the pattern, right? Now these two wires, curve them around. Take these two wires, go under, here we go. Try to form a little pattern there, and around. Take the next two, curve them, try to make the curves even, but sometimes it's hard to get them started. All right, go around. Okay, before I continue to wrap all the way up the wire, the thing I forgot to mention is, you remember when I measured with a piece of tape the circumference of this? That's how I'm going to know how much weave I want to do, because it'll completely encircle the cabochon. So this is what I'm using as reference, so I can know where to stop weaving. So I'm gonna tape it right here, and the end of it, I'm gonna mark it on my wire, and that is how I know how far down to weave. Okay? Now I want to find the center point of, this would be the cabochon, obviously, and this point right here will be the center of that cabochon. So I marked where I thought the center should be, and then I placed the wire right there at that point. So now I want to take my 22 gauge wire and snip about 2 centimeters off, like that. And then take your round nose pliers, take the round nose pliers in half, bend it in half actually. And then we're going to place this loop right there in the middle, like that. Oops. Okay, let's move this, I don't need it anymore. All right, so that's the loop right there. Go and squeeze it right, and then you're gonna wrap. There you go. So you just want to make a little loop right here, basically, and just wrap the ends around the base wire here. Doesn't have to be really neat or, you know, perfect. Just wrap it. Okay? All right. Okay, I've gotten to the end of our mark, and we don't want to cut these wires just yet. Now I want to slightly bend the frame, just slightly bend, to start to form our shape around our cabochon. Okay, now grab your cabochon, and let's go ahead and start to wrap around. Make sure the loop that we made here is directly in the middle bottom of your cabochon, and go ahead and curve it around on both sides. There we go. Alright, so this is what we have. Now, let's put this aside for a second. This very back wire here is the end of like the weave part, so we don't need it anymore, so we can go ahead and snip that piece only. Let's go ahead and snip it. Make sure you snip it on the inside and get your pliers and flatten it down. All right, let's flatten that down. Perfect. All right, so now you just left with the base wires and this other part of the weave wire. All right, and this last piece here, just make one more curve over like we did before. One last curve, and this is going to be our finale. All right, so go ahead and wrap it like we did previously. There. All right, so that's it. Now we can snip this wire. Okay, let's snip. Bye-bye. And flatten. Okay, now the top base wires, you want to just pull them to the sides, okay? You can use your finger to do that, your hand. Just pull them to the side like that. Okay. And you just want to bend both wires up until they reach the top here, as if the stone were there, it'd be at the top. Okay? All right. Now, you want to take the two back wires, try to separate them a little bit. Pull one over that way, one over that way, and actually, let's do one wire from the back and one wire from the front, like that. All right, and then we're going to twist those two wires. Let's move this out of the way for now, and this out of the way for now. And these two wires we're going to twist. Go ahead and get them as close together as you can, like that, and just twist them. Just a basic twist, nothing spectacular. Okay, let's see, I actually twisted for about a little under 5 centimeters. And then the top, when I got to the top, I just bent the wires outward like that. Okay, and then these two from the side here, you're going to pull it up alongside the twist, and then do the other one the exact same way. Pull it up. Okay, see where we're going? All right, let's do one at a time. This first one here, I'm going to take it and wrap it around this wire. I'll just go ahead and use my hand. That's par for the course for me. Okay, I gave it one complete wrap, and now I just want to snip off the excess wire here. There we go, and we're going to press this part flat, And of course, the next wire we're going to bring upward and do it the same. Go ahead and wrap it around one time, tightly, one wrap. There we go. And snip that wire also. All right, this is what we have now. You still got your two wires to the side here, and these wires are all flat. All right, so now I want to grab my round nose pliers, go about halfway, a little lower than halfway, and grab every single wire in your pliers here, and you want to take this part, and of course you want to bend it over. There we go, around the back. And here is a look at the back. Okay. All right, now you want to take your cabochon. This is the front. You want to flip it over to the back. Go ahead and put it back in the frame. There, make sure it's snug in there, like that. And now you want to bring this little loop up there, like that. Okay? Maneuver it around a little bit, and then these two wires here, I'm gonna make a little curve. Well, I'm gonna make a loop. I don't want to cut it too short, so let's see. Let's just go for it. Just cut a bit. Right there, and the other side do the same. Cut a bit there, and now take your round nose pliers, and I'm gonna move the cabochon for a second. Just make a loop here with the bigger part of your plier. Okay, now I'll do the other side. All right. Now let's put the cabochon back. There we go. Not too bad, right? Now we're going to take a scrap piece of wire, 22 gauge, and cut about, let's see, I say about 3.5 inches, okay? Cut about 3.5 inches of 22 gauge wire. All right, and then we want to make a loop right down the middle like that. Okay, now put it right through that little loop, one end there, like that. And then you're going to put one end inside that loop and one end inside that loop and wrap it around 2 to 3 times. Okay, after I've wrapped it around twice, I think it needs a little bit more security, so I'm going to also take one of the wires and wrap it around the side here and the side here. Okay, same wire without cutting it, just wrap it around here. I'm going to use my pliers for this. Gotta get in there. There we go, peeking through. Just pull it. There we go. Perfect. And now I'll do the other side. Just wrap it around, tuck it in there. That's stubborn little thing there. All right, and I'm going to snip this piece and flatten it, but basically there you are. And I might come back and do something with this area. All right, so I just took an extra piece of wire and wrapped it around that neck like I said I would. I didn't really want it to be open, so I just wrapped some spare wire around the neck, and I'm just going to tuck it inside there. Well, let's snip them a little bit first. And then just tuck it. Just to secure that bail a little bit more, that's all. There we go. And that is it. There you have it. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye bye for now.